How are you doing? This is Martin from Gardens for Life. Welcome to our weekly vlog where I will be showing you progress in how things are growing and all different things, methods and philosophies of no-dig gardening. And in that we're going to be showing you our newest addition, our newest expansion, the no-dig garden that we have expanded our pizza garden with. And for those of you who haven't seen the making of yet, it is available on our YouTube channel too. After doing no-dig gardening for many years and after establishing at least a dozen gardens, we have learned we've learned lots of things, but one of the things that I'd like to emphasize the most with this new garden extension is that we want to give nature a chance to have its own input. That means we're not trying to force nature, we're just trying to show the right direction, and that means basically putting down a blank slate, as in take away or smother the existing vegetation, and putting down compost on top, and then planting the plants that you'd like to use or eat, basically. Any kind of plants that you would like to grow, either because they're useful to you or to your animals, or possibly because you like the looks of them and you like the garden to be nice. So the idea is to actually let nature take control back just a little bit and hand over the control, so to speak, back to nature, rather than trying to use all of your time, effort and resources to try and make the garden absolutely perfect in your own image. I would suggest just letting it go sometimes. For example, we grow plants in patches now rather than garden beds, and we let those go to seed sometimes so that it can establish itself year after year without us having to actually intervene at all, and we can simply come along and harvest. You'll find that in some parts of our gardens here, that's what we've done, especially with our fennel plants, for example, and the red Russian kale too. Don't forget, our winter selection has just gone up on our website, and it's available for pre-sale now. So please feel free to take a look. So it's been super hot this week. It's been 26 degrees Celsius here in Ireland. That is actually a heat wave. Well, it's considered a heat wave anyway. And I'm going to be showing you this garden here now. We haven't irrigated it at all. We might actually wait until tomorrow's rains and hope for the best today. It'll be okay. I don't think we're going to be bothered watering it today. You can see little seedlings here are doing okay. This echinacea plant here is suffering a little bit. But this garden in general now has been set up using a digger. We spread the compost, and in some places we've had to patch the grass up. So you can see here grasses actually did come through in some places. I want to show you what it looks like now, but in other places we've actually managed to pull it all up. In some places we're better off to actually just cover it for a few weeks until it's been smothered. Look at the purple tree spinach. Well, this garden here, this little patch of garden beside our new garden, was already here before. You can see there's an awful lot of grasses below that needs to be corrected. We need to either cover those with plastic for a while, or we need to take care of them by pulling them up as good as we can and then covering it with compost. But you can also see here where the patches of plastic are in our garden. That's where there was quite a bit of grass coming through from previous scraping, and the compost wasn't quite thick enough to smother the grass. So we are patching it up temporarily. You can see it doesn't have to be perfect. A no-dig garden can be temporarily patched as well, but we're making corrections as we see progress happening. You can see that's the pizza garden there, just beyond. Already fairly mature. I would assume that this garden here is going to be very similar. It's going to be a bit of a jungle when things grow up. We are growing all kinds of different things here, for example food crops, but also some plants as well. This is a yacon plant, and this is some lemon balm. You can see how we have one plant every 8 inches or so, or 20 centimeters to grow those out until the winter time. We always throw in an old great mullein plant in between. Here's some kale, some chard, some rhubarb here. These are the oxalis. Those are available as part of our winter sale as well as bulbs. And I wanted to do these weekly vlogs just to talk to you guys about what we think about no-dig gardening too. What we wanted to achieve with this garden here, we wanted to make use of this space basically and turn it from unused space into a productive area. Now it is definitely a transition. It's not like you install a no-dig garden and you have no more work to do, but mainly all the work goes into it in the very beginning. Usually 90% of the work with a no-dig garden goes in at the start, and after that the 10% is broken down mostly into planting and harvesting, and probably 1 to 2% weeding. In this case we're talking about maintenance. That means after establishment. So we're still in establishment here. After 2 years I would say we're okay. But even after the first year, during the first year, you'll find that you'll have a few weeds coming through from underneath, and sometimes even from above, as in seeds that fly in with the wind. That can happen. You can see here how the grasses are coming through. I'll have to pull those up. It's kind of hard to get them with the root, so I figured if we keep pulling them up like that, there you go. If we keep pulling them up like that, I think we'll be okay, and they'll eventually not come up again. Here's an American elder tree. Planted that right in the middle and surrounded by some gooseberry bushes. And we like to always interplant things like garlic. You can see here, that's the elephant garlic, with other crops such as annuals that will eventually reside to the frost. These are yacons, and in between we have some Egyptian walking onions and some Chinese potatoes or Chinese yams. So those yacons will be dug up in the winter time, usually sometime between December and February, and we're going to store those in the greenhouse or in the shed, very dry. And these Chinese yams are perennial, so they'll come back again next year. So those can actually grow into the winter. Whoops, I see there's two that aren't planted yet. Better stick those in the ground real quick. And planting in no-dig is really easy. It'd be even easier if I had gloves on. So you just make a hole and shove the plant in the ground and close it off again. And we feel that we should let nature do most of the spacing. We usually try to plant things a little bit too dense in case one thing doesn't do too well. But mainly the important thing is to actually mix things up as well, so that in case you have, for example, you have the oxalis here and you have some kale in between, you can see here. And you have a berry bush too, so that's more of a long-term wood crop or plant propagation material crop. And we have a oriental poppy right there too, and some more yacons on this side. So you can see, even especially a good example would be, we have those kind of tuberous crops like the yacon that will die back with the frost. We have interplanted kale which will actually grow through the winter, especially the Siberian kale like this one is, or the red Russian kale. It'll grow at temperatures of as low as 4 degrees Celsius. So it'll actually grow through the winter. That way we have another crop that kind of continues on using the space rather than just leaving the space derelict for the whole winter. We also like to group things as well. That's one thing we were trying to achieve with this space here. We did not go for garden beds. Instead, we just made the paths so that we can reach every part of the garden. So we made the paths in the most simple way possible. We basically just started walking and made the paths that way. Just by actually using the paths came to be. Of course, you have to decide where they go in the first place. We do have some little shortcuts here. You'll also find that you'll make a path if you need one. That's what we always say. For example, here I needed a shortcut to get out to here, and so then you just make a path. You just walk on it. You could cover the path with wood chips now, but it's not necessary. For the winter time, it'd be nice to have wood chips on, just because it'll be a little bit less damp. Take a look at these. Need to clean this up a little bit more. These are some kale that have gone to seed. This is actually Sutherland, which is meant to be perennial. You can see here, those are the seeds. We're going to take up this seed crop and I'm going to plant it up again with fresh plants. Because I'm not sure if this is supposed to come back. Does anyone know, anyone watching this, do you know, is Sutherland actually perennial? The variety of kale? Please let us know in the comments below what has been your experience. One problem we've had here in the past is actually that we had an awful lot of ivy plants dropping in from seed, either by the birds or by nearby trees, and that's why we've had to take out some of the ivy plants near our garden. I understand that ivy is very good for the birds, for bird food in the winter time, the berries, and for bees as well. We've got plenty of food for the birds, especially berries, all summer. And even in the winter time, we also provide them with plenty of food with the wood chip cover that we put on, and the no-dig garden beds too, where especially the blackbirds actually go digging for worms. But we did have to take down this ivy plant here. So you can see here, it is very near our garden, and I don't fancy weeding thousands of little ivy seedlings next spring. This row here, these are actually just the berries, and I planted a whole row here just to grow them out a bit, but also to use the space a bit more efficiently. I like to do that just planting something woody, something that grows tall in the middle, and then plant something smaller or lower growing on the outside, on both sides. And in between there's some orphery. You can see here, that's a tuberous leek. Still available on our website too. No doubt we're going to have to do a bit of work to keep the garden clean, especially in the next few months or in the first year even. But I think it'll be okay. It definitely wasn't too bad so far. Geez, it is already getting really hot out here now. There's an airplane. They love flying over our hill. It's getting too hot out here now. It's actually just noon and probably 25 degrees already at this stage. I've had to get out of the sun and go in the shade. A garden can do a lot of different things for you, especially provide you with food, things you can eat, and also some medicinal herbs or home remedies, and also with beauty as well, with some flowers and with a nice place to be, which is really good for your mental and your physical health, of course, especially because you're getting free exercise and you don't have to pay for a gym. and it's right out there. You don't even have to get in the car to get there. It's usually out in your backyard. So if you like the weekly vlog, please give us a shout in the comments below, or give us a thumbs up. We'd highly appreciate it. And if you're interested in buying any of the plants that we're growing, or tubers, or taking a look at the winter selection, it's just available now on our website. If you would like to take a look, we'd highly appreciate any support. Thanks a million. All the best, and see you the next time. Bye bye.